Welcome back. It's 9:20. You'll know our next guest as Lord Sugar's former aide on The Apprentice and, of course, the host of Countdown as well. But today, Nick Hewer is a man on a mission to help local businesses around the world combat unfair trading practices.
He's a patron of the Fairtrade Foundation. He's promoting the charity's Fairtrade Fortnight campaign, and we're glad to be joined by the man himself here in the studio. Nick,
good morning.
Very good morning to you. Good seeing you.
Great to see you again.
How much of things out there are not fair? We all like to think we'll do the right thing and we'll buy from the right sources and whatever. How much of it is not fair?
Quite a lot. But here's the deal, and I've been involved with Fairtrade for 10 years, and I was sort of seduced by the idea that the small farmer on a little plot of land somewhere on an island out in the Caribbean or in West Africa, growing bananas, hasn't got a chance when it comes to selling to the big food producers and retailers. But Fairtrade is an organisation of hundreds of thousands of farmers, and Fairtrade guarantees a proper price, a steady price, and a premium, extra money to go to the local community. And I thought this is wonderful, and it is wonderful. And I've seen what it really means to those small farmers, sliding around on some volcanic hill in the Windward Islands with just a few banana trees.
Well, look, I definitely consider myself someone that when I'm buying stuff from overseas, like coffee or bananas, I will look for the fair trade sign and I'll make that conscious decision. But what about here in the UK? How can we? What are the big offenders when it comes to unfair farming and whether people are getting? Is it milk, for example? We don't pay enough for our milk, do we? How do we?
No, we don't. Well, it's a problem. I get it absolutely, because you've got all these cows producing milk, and the supermarket or whoever it is comes along and offers a price that's less than the cost of production. And they say, well, take it or leave it. Well, what's the farmer going to do with all this milk? Pour it down the drain? But fair trade, which is essentially, and I think it's 80% of the world's food is produced by 500 million tiny farmers, and I've seen them at work, not all of them, obviously. But there's an added problem now, and that's climate change. Climate change, because it's becoming increasingly difficult for those small farmers, be they coffee or cocoa or bananas or whatever it is, to grow as the land dries up under the heat. Now, the premium that fair trade pays, you'll be interested, in South America, the fair trade farmers planted 300,000 trees so that they could grow the coffee bushes underneath the trees in the shade. That's what's happening. Now, if you buy fair trade in the supermarket, and people like Sainsbury's and Waitrose, they're great. You're helping that farmer, and actually you're guaranteeing the future of those foods. That's the point. If you want chocolate in 30 years' time, we should live so long.
Yeah, I think you're right there, because we want to make a connection between where our food comes from and how it ends up on our plate, but also that we're doing the right thing.
Absolutely right. Absolutely correct. And we owe it. Listen, we're going through a cost of living crisis, okay?
Yeah. And
people are hurting. Well, they're hurting down there too. They've still got to have petrol for their tractors and all the rest of it. Everybody's under the cosh. And
so
as you know,
what's your suggestion? What
Buy fair trade. Buy fair trade. It's no more expensive. And in fact, people, some of the supermarkets, they're on the value shelves. There's no choice, really. It's stupid not to. Why wouldn't you want to help that chap feed his children, but also guarantee the future of the food that he's growing? Sounds simple to me.
You need to get the apprentice teams out into farms in the UK, get them to put their minds to some of the problems that we have.
Do you know, I was reading yesterday that when you work on The Apprentice, you've got to sign an anti-nuki agreement, basically.
Really?
Nuki? As an anti-nuclear?
I don't know how to describe it as such. But
you're not allowed to have relations.
Did you ever have to sign one of those?
Certainly not. You'd run away from such a thing.
Apparently, I was reading this history, they're all at it.
Well, so they're all breaking them.
At what?
They're all becoming more familiar with each other down through the years and always have done.
Look, if you were locked up in a house for weeks on end with, attractive people, and you were 40 years younger or 50 years younger, what would you do?
Well,
you're drawn to those sort of things.
They become more attractive, whether they are or not, I suppose. That's the thing about it.
I don't know what to say. Don't know why you're looking at me.
I'm just trying to educate you in these things.
I am very educated and enlightened.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go.
There we go. By Fairtrade, and Nick Hewer is there representing it, and he's speaking on behalf of these small farmers all around the world, and I think we should do more. You are the equivalent of what Jeremy Clarkson is for British farmers then.
Well, it's kind of you. I think he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job.
He really is.
But look after those who are growing our food, and look after those who really need to feed their children. Buy Fairtrade. Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to start.
Well, on those wise words, Nick Hewer, Fairtrade patron and top all-round man, thank you very much indeed. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.